Hey everybody, 5 Parsecs from home turned 17, which will be the next to last battle for my campaign, is here on Bricks and Blocks Gaming. 5 Parsecs from home was written by Ivan Sorensen and published by Modifius Entertainment. I'm Alan, let's get to the bricks and blocks of turn 17 for this campaign. After fleeing from Zarvaros into the nearby jungle, Danik, Baffy, and Beldara found themselves pinned down by the bounty hunter and the goons he hired to hunt his prey. Luckily, Rhett, Charlie, and Ugrok were able to come to their aid to drive off their attackers. And after a hard-fought battle, the team's Kieran warrior was able to exact vengeance on Zarvaros and ensure they'll never have to deal with him again. Now, the team can mend their wounds and leave Daburu, even though Rhett kind of wants to stay a little longer, and follow their tracking beacon to where Talfo Yeris and his team are preparing to use the Stolen Galactic Solutions data to mass-produce warrior mutants of their own. Gibbs Renegades currently have 3 patrons on Daburu, as well as 1 unknown rival. They have 15 credits, 3 rumors, and no story points remaining. As the team is traveling and preparing for their final battles, they've pooled their equipment and rearmed themselves. Captain Danik Krell is wearing one of the crew's 4 suits of combat armor and is carrying the marksman's rifle and his hand cannon. He's also equipped with the team's plasma rifle, the auto sensor the team repaired at the end of the last turn, and one of the 3 screen generators the team has. And he's installed the nerve adjuster implant that can potentially prevent stuns. He's sitting at 9 experience points. Baffy has 5 experience points. He's still carrying his auto rifle with the tracker sight, a machine pistol, which has the crew's laser sight attached. He's wearing stealth gear and has a screen generator and an insta-wall. Lastly, he's carrying the brutal melee weapon that Gibbs once wielded in battle. Rhett finally got his auto rifle with the bipod and seeker sight back, and is carrying a blade and the Klingfire pistol, which is now equipped with a quality sight to increase its range. He also has a grapple gun, the last remaining screen generator, and the other suit of stealth gear. And he has an AI companion implant. He has 5 experience points. Dr. O is still healing from his wounds, but has his hand laser with the shock attachment pack, and grabbed the infantry laser that Charlie fixed last turn, and the team's shell gun. He has the remaining insta-wall, the displacer he's never used, and is wearing flex armor. He has 5 experience points. Beldara has 3 experience points after purchasing a point of luck back on turn 15. She has her rattle gun with the nanosludge modification, a blade, and has Danik's blast rifle. She's wearing combat armor. Ugrok is also wearing combat armor and has his shatter axe, an auto rifle, and a blast pistol. He has a sonic emitter, a concealed blade, and has his neural optimizer implanted. He still has 6 experience points after taking down Zarvaros in the last battle. And Charlie is still equipped with his glare sword, the rattle gun with the stabilizer modification to ignore its heavy trait, and is wearing combat armor. Taking a look at the pre-game steps, I will point out that when I get to choosing my battle, I have kind of a custom battle set up, so I've already pre-selected which enemies I'm going to face and some other special things that I've designed for this battle, which I'll get to eventually. But starting with traveling, I am going to travel because I need to track down Talfo Yeris. There's no invasion to flee, but I need to pay 5 credits to travel and then roll up a Starship Travel event. On a D100, 80. So that is an uneventful trip. A lot of time playing cards and cleaning guns. You can also repair 1 damaged item. So I guess my team is just kind of getting ready for this final battle against Talfo and his team. And they're just kind of going through their equipment, sorting things out, and deciding who is getting which weapon. And I'm going to go ahead and repair a damaged Ripper Sword that I got back on turn 15. I'll roll up a trait for this planet, 84. And that is a fuel shortage. So this planet is kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so apparently getting fuel is hard to come by. So after they take out Talfo and they're ready to leave, it's going to cost some extra to get off this planet. And I guess I did that out of order. Supposed to do a few other things first. I'm not going to bother checking for a licensing requirement. I'm not looking for any patron jobs here. I'll dismiss all my current patrons, and then I need to check for rivals. I have one rival, and I need to see if they are following me. So this is actually an unknown rival I attracted back on turn 9. On a 5 or higher, they follow me here. And they do. And also back on turn 6 and 8, I found personal trinkets with my battlefield finds. I get a roll for both of these on a 9 or higher on 2d6. I find the owner on this planet and I receive loot. For the first one, 4. I do not find the owner. And the second one, 6. I still do not find the owner of these. For upkeep, since Dr. O is in sickbay, he doesn't count towards my crew total, so for a crew of 6, I only have to pay 1 credit. And Dr. O does have 2 turns left in sickbay. He gets to remove one of those right now, and then I'm going to pay 4 credits to go ahead and remove the other one. That will allow him to participate in the upcoming battle, but not do a crew task. So for other crew tasks, I'll start with having Ugrak go exploring this new planet that I'll be calling Bralton 7. And his result is 69. So apparently Ugrak found a good place to purchase weapons. I can pay 3 credits for purchases on the military weapons table, but I'm going to skip this because I'm down to 5 credits. Next I'll send Danik and Rhett trading, and I'll also roll up my free trade action. So starting with Danik, 12, Rhett, 52, and my other free trade, 71. So Danik picked up an instruction book. He can give it to a crew member of his choice, and they gain 1 experience point. I guess maybe he found a book about this new planet here and gives it to Beldara so she can maybe plan some of her tactics according to the environment that they'll be in. Rhett was able to find some spare parts with his 52. He can use this for a repair attempt to get +1. If he rolls a natural 1, the spare parts will be used up and have to be erased. And for my merchant link, I got some insider information. Automatically obtain a patron next campaign turn if you look for one. It's a single use. I won't be using that, so we'll just say that we got some information from someone that is letting us know where exactly Talfo Yeris' headquarters are. And to finish up my crew tasks, Charlie is going to be doing some decoy work, so I won't have to face that unknown rival. And then I'm going to have Baffy and Beldara both go training to gain +1 experience point. And for choosing my battle, I'll be doing an opportunity mission, and I won't be making any rolls on any of the tables. I've got some special conditions I'll be mentioning shortly. I'm not going to bother with any notable sites because my crew is focused on trying to take out Talfo and his team, and my objective is simply going to be a fight-off. I'm not even going to roll for enemies because I've already decided what I'll be facing. First off, I've already established that Talfo has some mercenaries working for him. A couple battles ago, these were the stats I rolled up for those mercenaries, so I will treat these as the Rage Lizard Mercs. And I've already determined what kind of weaponry and how many of these enemies will be present on the battlefield. And for the other enemy, I've heard a lot about these Korgs, that they're supposed to be pretty strong, and it seems like they are. So I'm going to use these stats to represent the advanced mutants that Talfo has been able to create with the Galactic Solutions data. And these guys are pretty tough. Speed of 5, +2 combat, toughness of 6. They have claws that deal +2 damage. They're ferocious. They gain +1 to brawling if they've initiated the combat. They have a saving throw of 5+, and I'm going to ignore the easy targets. These guys are supposed to be big bear-type creatures, making them easier to hit, but these aren't bear guys, so I'm going to eliminate that bonus. And then tough fight, a random survivor gains +1 experience point, but I'll ignore that as well. And I'll also be facing off against Talfo Yeris for the first time. He has a speed of 6, combat of +2, toughness of 5, and 1 luck point. We caught him off guard, and so he didn't have time to grab any of his defensive equipment, but is carrying his custom hunting rifle, which has a stabilizer to ignore the heavy trait, and has been customized to give it a range of 36 inches. As Gibbs renegades approach Talfo's base, it seems too quiet. Danik moves forward to scout out the area alone. He spots Talfo inside the base and dives into the water for cover, just as a bullet strikes where he had been standing. The rest of the crew splits up to find protection for themselves, with Talfo's hunting rifle aimed straight down the main walkway. The 6 who weren't scouting end up in 2 groups of 3, while Danik is stranded, stuck, and forced into a shoot-off with Talfo Yeris. I'm only supposed to bring 5 characters into each battle, but I've decided, since I'm on to the final 2 scenarios of my campaign, I can't leave anybody behind. I need everybody to be part of the action, so I'm going to be rolling randomly to decide which side of the board each one of my characters show up on. Danik's going to be starting towards the middle of the battlefield in a firefight, but I'll be rolling to determine which 3 characters will be on the left side in order here. We've got number 4, 5, and 6, which is Ugrak, Beldara, and Charlie. And then Baffy, Dr. O, and Rhett will be on the right side. So my setup's a little lopsided with most of my heavy hitters with Beldara, Ugrak, and Charlie hanging out over here. Danik is in the middle of the battlefield, kind of hanging out underneath that metal grate. And then we've got Baffy, Dr. O, and Rhett huddled up over here. And then going around to the back side of the board, on the right side of the table, we have 2 of the Krorg mutants. And then over here we have a mercenary with an auto rifle, and then their lieutenant with a blast rifle. And for the forces that Beldara, Ugrak, and Charlie will face, we have a mercenary with a blast rifle, one with an auto rifle, a regular Krorg mutant, and here is their lieutenant. And then in this building in the very back, we have Talfo hanging out there with his hunting rifle. To make things easier to keep track of, I'm going to call Beldara's group Team 1 and Rhett's group Team 2. Each group is essentially in their own battle with the enemies on their own side. Once they've eliminated all of their own foes, then they can go help the other team. During the battle, 2 more Krorg mutants will likely appear, which I'll explain after the first round. Danik is essentially in a battle of his own. He and Talfo won't move, not even if stunned or when using luck points. They'll just be exchanging shots. If Danik takes out Talfo, he's free to join either one of his squads. If Danik is taken down, Talfo will leave to help prepare his own team for an imminent assault by Gibbs renegades. With everything going on with the setup, I've decided to skip the opportunity to seize the initiative, and we'll go straight to reactions for the first round. And I can use the 1s and the 3. Well, I've got to have Danik shoot first, so he'll get the 3. And then for my 1s, I'll give them to Baffy, Ugrak, and Beldara. Those 3 will just go into snap fire mode, and I'll have Danik fire at Talfo Yeris. So all of these sniper shots are going to be into cover. Danik has a +3 combat, needing a 6. And he hits right off the bat. And a 6 with a marksman's rifle is a critical hit, so he scores 2 hits against Talfo's toughness of 5. And that just causes 2 stuns. Stunning an enemy is usually nice because 3 stuns and a figure is out. However, it's unlikely he'll get to 3 stuns when this is just a one-on-one shoot-off. However, I do say in my games that figures that are stunned can't aim, and we'll go ahead and go to the enemy phase. Talfo will go ahead and fire. After he acts, he will go down to just 1 stun. So Talfo's shooting with a +2, needing a 6, and that misses with just a 4. Next, we'll go to the enemies over here on Team 1's side. Starting with the mercenaries, they have a movement of 4, so they can go 6 inches on a dash. They'll have their blast rifle wielding soldier come over here. They're tactical, so they want to stay in cover. And this one's just going to move up to the next structure to right here. The Krorgs, they have a movement of 5, so they can go a total of 7 inches. and they're rampaging, so they're just going to run kind of straight at my guys with no real regard to their own health. However, they do still stay in cover with all this random terrain around. And now we'll go around to Team 2. We're going to start with their Krorg mutants. So these two will both run 7 inches this way on a dash. And then for the mercenaries, they can go 6 inches. They're just going to move up to the next piece of cover, to right there. And then we'll go to the slow phase. And we'll go ahead and have Team 2 go first, since I'm already over here on this side. We're going to start out with having Dr. O just make a short move. He's just going to step over here behind Rhett, come right here, and then he's going to fire his infantry laser wide open at this Krorg mutant. Dr. O has no combat bonus, so he needs a 5 for a wide open shot. And he hits with that. Krorgs have a massive toughness of 6. But he manages to hit. They also have a saving throw of 5 or higher. Oh, Dr. O almost took one out in the first round. Now, with these two figures being right next to each other, I thought I read somewhere that if you move into another figure, you can both become stunned, but it's only on a random movement. So a stun isn't a random movement. So I'm just going to move this guy 1 inch this direction so that he's not running into his buddy. And then I'm going to go to Rhett, and he's going to move right up here, kind of blocking Dr. O's view, but he's going to fire down here at the one that's not stunned, because the one that is stunned is now obscured by this, so he'll fire wide open at the other one. Rhett has a +2 combat, needing a 5. First shot, that one hits. Against the toughness of 6. That's 1 stun, it'll push it back 1 inch. And the second shot, that one misses, not aimed. So this one goes back 1 inch and also gets a stun. And now Baffy wants to get on some of this. He's going to run right over here next to Rhett. And he's going to fire at the same one Rhett did. Baffy has a +0 combat, so he needs a 5 or 6. This is still a wide open shot. First shot misses, and the second shot, that one also misses. And now we'll go over to Team 1. The only member of my crew over here that can get into position to shoot an enemy is Ugrak. So he's going to run 5 inches right up over here. And from right there, he can see down here to the Lieutenant Mutant. He'll fire his auto rifle into cover. He's got a +1 combat, needing a total of 6. First shot misses, and the second shot also misses. Then Charlie is just going to move and dash over here, kind of behind Ugrak, to maybe give him some covering fire. And Beldara is going to move up, not her full movement, right over here, to watch for mutants coming down this way. And I mentioned there's a chance of more Krorg mutants showing up on the table. So at the end of each round, I'll roll a d6, and if the number is equal to or less than the current turn value, one of these is going to show up. So on a 1, one will show up. So not yet. And then I'll go ahead and roll up my reactions. I can use the 1s, and that's all. So I'll give one of those to Ugrak, who will just go into Snapfire mode. I'll give 2 of them over here to Rhett and Baffy, and 1 of them to Danik, and I'll go ahead and have Danik fire at Talfo. He's got his +3, needing a total of 6, and he is aiming. He can re-roll that, since he's not stunned, but he still misses with a 5. And that's really unfortunate that he's given Talfo another chance to shoot back at him. And we'll go over here to Baffy, and he's going to fire down here at the same one he fired at last turn. He has a tracker sight, which gives him a +1 if he fires at the same enemy 2 turns in a row. So he's got a +1, needing a 5 because this is wide open. First shot, that one hits. Toughness of 6, gives it a second stun. It's still within range when it's pushed back. So he'll fire his second shot. Same thing, needing a 5 total. He hits that. Against toughness of 6. Gives it a 3rd stun. So with 3 stuns, this mutant Krorg goes down. And to finish up my quick phase, Rhett is going to fire down here at this one. Rhett has both a bipod and a seeker sight attached to his auto rifle. And those both give a +1 bonus if he didn't move. So he's got a total of +4 to this. And he's aiming. Needing a 6. The first shot hits. Against toughness of 6. He hits it. And it has an armor save of 5 or higher. We actually take one out without the 3 stuns rule. So Squad 2 just lays down the gunfire over here, taking down both of these Krorg mutants in the same round. But now we'll go to the enemy phase, starting in the middle of the board with Talfo firing at Danik. He is stunned until after he fires, so his one shot, needing a 6 with a +2 combat, that misses, and I play that he can't aim when he's stunned. So we'll take away this stun now that he's activated, and then we'll have the Krorgs go. The Lieutenant is going to move and dash 7 inches over here towards Beldara, right on the edge of the table. And then this one is going to move and dash 7 inches this way. Ugrok does see him. He could snap fire, but he wants to save it in case someone with a gun comes into range, which is exactly what's going to happen. This mercenary here just kind of pokes his head around to fire at Ugrok. And since he can see Ugrok down here, and they're both just within the 24-inch range of their auto rifles, Ugrok is going to fire first with snapfire. This is firing into cover, so he needs a 6 with his +1 combat. First shot, that hits against the toughness of 5, causes a stun, and the second shot, that one also hits. Toughness of 5, takes him down. And just to double check, even as that mercenary got pushed back an inch, he would still actually be in the 24-inch range of Ugrok's auto rifle. So the first shot pushes him back a little bit, but the second shot lands on its target. And while I'm over here, I'll have this mercenary run right up into this corner. And now I'm going to go to my slow phase, starting with Beldara. And she's going to fire her rattle gun over here at this guy. So she has a +2 combat. She didn't move, so she's aiming, and that means her nano sludge can kick in, so she has a total of +3, wide open, needing a 5. First shot, that hits. Toughness of 6. Doesn't get past its toughness. Second shot, that one hits. Toughness of 6. Gives it a second stun, and the third shot, that one also hits. In fact, she would hit on anything except for a 1, which she would re-roll. And toughness roll, third stun. And I think I heard somewhere the author saying that he wishes he'd done a little something different with the 3 stun and you're out rule. Because this does feel a little like I'm cheating here, taking out these big, powerful mutants this way. But that's how the rules are written, so another mutant Krorg goes down. And then to continue with the theme of shooting rattle guns at these mutants, Charlie's going to run right up over here, and he'll fire his rattle gun at this one, who does have cover. Charlie has a +2, not aimed, needing a 6. First shot hits. Toughness of 6. Gives it a stun. Second shot. That one also hits. Toughness of 6. That's a second stun. And the third shot, that misses with just a 5. So Charlie rattles a couple of bullets off this thing's exoskeleton hide, pushes it back a couple inches, and gives it 2 stuns. And then going over to Team 2, we have just Dr. O left, and he's just going to move up here into some better cover. Well, I wasn't really sure what to expect with the difficulty level of this battle, having all of my characters on the battlefield at once, but it's definitely turned out to be easier than I was expecting. So instead of randomly determining when these 2 other mutants are going to show up, I'm just going to have them both show up this turn. One will show up on each side, and I'll be randomizing where they show up. On a 1 or 2, they'll show up on that side's dock area. On a 3 or 4, they'll show up at the halfway points, and on a 5 or 6, they'll show up down on the far ends. Team 1s will show up on the dock, and Team 2s will also show up on the dock. So with my team so focused on the enemies in front of them, they don't realize that apparently these mutants are really good at swimming, and they've popped up right behind them. I will go ahead and roll a battle event. 20. Alright, seize the moment. Select a crew member who may move and act in both the quick and slow action phases next round. And I think I'm going to have Danik take advantage of that. I've decided all the enemies will be fearless in this battle, so I won't be rolling 4 panic rolls for the enemies I took down. So we'll make some reaction rolls. And I can use the 1s, the 2, and the 4. Well, Team 2 is in the most imminent threat, so I'll give the 1s to Dr. O and Baffy, the 4 to Rhett, and then I'll give the 2 to Charlie over there. And Danik gets to activate in both phases, so I'll go ahead and have Danik go first. +3 combat and aiming, needing a 6. Gets a natural 6, that's a critical hit. So 2 toughness rolls of 5, first one. That gets past his toughness, but he does have a point of luck. And in this battle, I'm not having either of these 2 figures move until after this shootout's done. So he won't randomly move, so he would take that second hit from that critical. That one does not get past his toughness, so he takes just 1 stun. So Danik takes aim, Talfo sticks his head out, and Danik nearly takes it off, giving his enemy 1 stun. And now we'll go to the action on the dock over here with Team 2. Rhett's going to go first. He'll just turn around and fire an aimed shot at this guy. To give these Krorg mutants a fighting chance, I'm going to say that they're rushing at my guys so quick that they can't aim, and Rhett's bipod and seeker sight won't kick in for not moving either. So Rhett's got a +2, needing a 5. I said that's not aimed, so that misses. And the second shot, that one hits with a total of 5 against a toughness of 6. Just gives him a stun. So this thing gets pushed back an inch. It's kind of hanging off the dock into the water. Gets 1 stun. And now we'll have Baffy fire. We'll give the thing cover since it's hanging off the side of the dock. Baffy needs a 6. First shot with his auto rifle. I'm saying these guys can't aim this round, and the next shot, that one does hit. Against toughness of 6, a second stun. Alright, so this thing now is not hanging off the dock, but it's kind of swimming out here with 2 stuns. And now Dr. O is going to turn around, and he's going to fire his shell gun, launching a grenade right into the water. Area effect weapons hit on a 4+ if they can see their target. But that misses. So with Team 2 distracted by that bug, we'll go over to Team 1. So just Charlie can act in the quick phase over here. He'll fire his rattle gun again at that mutant Krorg. Shooting into cover, he needs a 5 with a +2, and he is aiming. First shot, missed, but that's an aim, so he gets to re-roll. That misses since he needs a 6. Second shot. That one's aimed, he can re-roll. Misses again, and the final shot, that one hits against a toughness of 6. And that guy already had 2 stuns. And needing 5 shots to hit something enough to knock this thing out, Charlie takes this guy down. And then we'll go to the enemy phase, where we'll start with having this Krorg come over here towards Beldara. It can dash 7 inches towards her, but it can't get close enough to get into a brawl, so it'll kind of hang out behind that rock. And then from there, we'll go around to the mercenary who's hiding in this back corner. And this guy has a blast rifle, so he only has a range of 20 inches, so he can't really get to where he can shoot anything. So he's going to move and dash 6 inches right up here. And then we'll go to the sniper standoff in the middle of the battle, and Talfo is going to fire at Danik. +2, needing a 6. That one hits. Against Danik's toughness of 5. The hunting rifles do have a +1 damage, though. So that gets past Danik's toughness. He has an armor save of 4+ with his combat armor and screen generator. But that gets past that, so he ends up having to use up his point of luck. So first, Talfo narrowly avoids a bullet to the face, and now Danik does the same, and we'll go over to Team 2. And this stunned mutant over here in the water can't really do much of anything except for distract my crew. So it's just going to hop out and move 5 inches. I guess it's going through some difficult ground there, which only allows it to move about 4 inches to right there, and it will go down to 1 stun. So with that distraction, these 2 mercenaries back here can start charging up the battlefield. The lieutenant is going to run around this way, to right about there, and this other guy is going to run over to here. And since all of Team 2 is gone, we'll go to Danik, who gets a bonus action this round. That battle event is helping out, as Danik will fire his marksman's rifle again at Talfo. Needing a total of 6, he gets that with his +3. Against Talfo's toughness of 5. Another stun. And I forgot to remove Talfo's stun when he activated recently, so we'll just leave that there. And now we'll go over to Ugrok. So Beldara apparently did not see this mutant crawling out of the water. Ugrok looks over and sees it coming at her, so he can move 6 inches. He likes to get into brawls, so that's what he's going to do. So the Krorg has a +2 combat, plus gains another +2 for having claws. When they initiate combat, they gain an additional +1, but that's not the case here. Ugrok has a total of +3 with his melee weapon and his combat, and he gets his 2 dice. And they end up tying with a 6 against a 6, so they both inflict hits on each other. We'll roll the Krorg's toughness first. He has a toughness of 6. This is a +3 damage. And that takes it out, but it does have armor. Its armor save is on a 5 or 6. Alright, he slashes the thing down. But now the thing ends up landing a blow on him as well. Ugrok's toughness is 5. This is a +2 damage claw. But it doesn't get past his toughness. So Ugrok looks over and sees this creature's just about to slash Beldara from behind. So he leaps off this rock with his axe, buries the thing into its body as the thing's claws bounce helplessly off of Ugrok's armor. Ugrok would normally take a stun from that, but his neural optimizer prevents that from happening. And so to finish off this round, Beldara is just going to run up here, 7 inches on a dash into cover. And with that, we'll roll up reactions for the next round. Not so good. I can only use the 1 and the 2. So things are still going alright for my crew. I'm going to give my 1 to Rhett and my 2 to Danik, who's going to go ahead and fire at Talfo. Hitting on a 6 with his +3 combat. That is aimed. Re-shooting. That's another critical. Against Talfo's toughness of 5. A 2nd stun. And the next one, a 3rd stun. And narratively, he's not really supposed to die this turn anyway. So I suppose that's fitting that he goes down from the 3 stuns in his out rule. And he's just going to take off to go tell his crew to get ready for Gibbs Renegade's imminent assault on their base. But before that can happen, the crew needs to take out the rest of these enemies. So Rhett's going to fire his auto rifle at this mutant Krorg. Now he is aiming and can use his bipod and his secret sight. So he's got a +4 to this. This will hit on anything, really. He hits that first one against the toughness of 6. Just gives it a 2nd stun. Doesn't push it all the way into the water. The next shot, that one hits against toughness of 6. That gets past the toughness. Does he take it out, getting past the armor of 5? He does. So Rhett doesn't need the 3 stuns in your out rule, as he just takes out another one of these as it splashes down into the water and its body just sinks away. And while Team 2 was distracted by that Krorg mutant, the mercenaries over here on their side are able to move into a position where they can actually shoot at my crew. Their lieutenant here is going to move 4 inches right up here, where she can just barely see Dr. O, and that is within the 18 inches of her blast rifle, so she's going to fire at him. Dr. O does have pretty good cover, so the enemy needs a 6, but she has a +2 combat being their lieutenant. But luckily that misses because that would deal +1 damage, and Dr. O only has a toughness of 3. So that bullet just whizzes past Dr. O's head, and then this other mercenary is just going to poke his head out around this corner. And from right there, he can see Baffy. Baffy is about half covered by some of this other terrain, so I'll give him cover. So the enemy is looking for a 6. He has a +1 combat, but Baffy's wearing stealth gear, giving the enemy -1. So he needs a straight up 6 with his auto rifle, firing 2 shots. First shot does hit against Baffy's toughness of 3. And that gets past his toughness. He does have his armor save of 5+ with his screen generator, but that gets past it. But fortunately, Baffy does have a point of luck that he just purchased last round, so he's going to end up moving 1 inch that direction. So Baffy hears the gunshot come at Dr. O. He turns around just as he sees machine gun fire coming at him, so he just kind of leaps forward out of the way, using that point of luck. And then we'll go over to the other side of the board for the last remaining enemy that Team 1 is facing. So this mercenary here will step out from behind this rock and will fire its blast rifle right through this pathway at Charlie. That shot is mostly wide open, so we'll say he hits on a 5+. He's got a +1 combat. That ends up hitting. +1 damage against Charlie's toughness of 5. Charlie just takes a stun. So Charlie is knocked back as a powerful blast clanks off his shoulder armor. Then we'll go to my slow phase, and I won't bother giving him his stun because he's going to go ahead and act first and just fire his rattle gun back at the guy. Not aiming because he was stunned. He needs a 6 with his +2 combat. The first shot hits against toughness of 5, takes him down. So Charlie shows this guy how you're supposed to use a gun. This guy goes down, and now we'll have this team start moving to help Team 2 because they have no other enemies to deal with. Beldara is going to move and dash this way, her full move, and Ugrok is going to do the same, going 8 inches this way. And now going over to Team 2. Dr. O is a little freaked out by that blast that almost took his head off. So he is just going to move 5 inches over here, where he's going to use his long-range infantry laser to shoot down here, back at that lieutenant. He needs a 6 with no combat bonus, and that misses, but at least he's out of range of the enemy blaster rifle. And then we'll go to Baffy. He is not stunned because when you use a luck point, it says you are unharmed. So I believe that means no stun. So he's going to move his 7 inches to here and fire his auto rifle. And that's now a wide open shot to that lieutenant. He needs a 5 and he's got +0 combat. First shot. That one hits against the toughness of 5. Takes her down. So Baffy heard the shot that almost took out Dr. O. He lunged out of the way from shots from his own attacker and got into position to take down that enemy. And with only 1 enemy remaining and my team in pretty good shape, we now move on to the next round. But first I need to roll up a battle event, 92. Well, I guess my team has some time to get distracted by a battlefield find. I found something, randomly select a crew member, then place a marker 1d6 inches from them in a random direction. If any crew member moves into contact with it, and I usually say just simply spends an action, not a non-combat action, or else they'd have to wait for the next round, roll for a loot item and claim it immediately. For the crew member, in order, we'll have Danik, Baffy, Dr. O, Rhett, Beldara, Ugrak, and then Charlie. So that shows up next to Beldara, 1 inch that direction. So as Beldara ran over here, she realizes she saw something right behind her that she might run back and grab. Since I'm not doing panic rolls, I'll roll up reactions. I can use the 1s and the 2s. I'll give the 2s to Rhett and Baffy, and the 1s to Dr. O and to Beldara. And Beldara thinks that what she saw might be important for the next battle, so she's going to run over and pick up that loot. We'll roll it up. For the category, 44, subcategory, 72, and item, 21. So a 44 gets me damaged gear. I'll actually roll twice, but the first item is some protective gear with a 72, and then the 21 gets me yet another suit of combat armor that is damaged. We'll roll up the second item, subtable 74, and item 33. Well, I guess I should have just assumed this is what I was going to get. 74 is a protective item, and then the 33 is yet another suit of damaged combat armor. So apparently Beldara just found an old supply crate that was buried and found a couple rusted suits of combat armor that just need a little TLC. We'll go over to the other side of the board, where Dr. O is just simply going to run for cover on a dash up to there. And then Rhett is going to turn around and fire his auto rifle down at the last remaining mercenary. Firing into cover with a +2. That misses with only a 5 total. And the next shot, that one hits with a 6. Against toughness of 5, takes him down. So after dealing with enemies swarming all around them, Rhett turns, fires his auto rifle, and takes out the last remaining enemy on the battlefield. And with Talfo Yeris' security team taken down, Gibbs Renegades regroup, reload, and rearm, and prepare for a final assault and showdown against Talfo, Central, Kazi, Jackal, and whatever else is waiting inside their adversary's base. To start my post-battle activities, I need to find out if these Krorg mutants become rivals. On a 1 they do, but they do not. This is neither a patron battle nor a quest battle, so I'll go to getting paid. Now, this is just a regular planet, not a red zone planet this time. 1d6 with a 1 or 2 becoming a 3. That's 5 credits. And I'll go ahead and roll up my battlefield find for holding the field, 99. And that is nothing of value, which kind of makes sense because I'm in a rush to move on into Talfo's base. There's no threat of invasion here, so I'll roll up my loot, starting with the category 4, subcategory 13, and specifically 87. Well, I guess the crew took a little bit of time to scavenge around the battlefield. 4 is a weapon, 13 is a slug weapon, and then an 87 is another auto rifle. So apparently they grabbed that off of one of the mercenaries. I get to skip the casualty rolls here, and we'll go to experience points. Everybody gains +3 for surviving and winning, except for Charlie, of course, because he's a robot. And then Baffy was the first character to inflict a casualty with the 3 stuns in your out rule, so he gains a bonus there. I'm not going to give Danik the experience points for taking down Talfo because it was kind of a weird setup the way I had that with that sniper battle, so we'll just ignore that. My team has a lot of experience points to use. Danik has 12 experience points, so he'll buy another point of luck. Dr. O has 8 experience points, so he is going to increase his toughness. Baffy has 9 experience points, so he's finally going to increase his combat to +1. Rhett has 8 experience points, so he's going to increase his toughness to 4. Beldara has 8 experience points, so she's going to increase her reactions to 3. And then Ugrak has 9 experience points, so he is going to increase his combat to +2. Now, narratively, the team is going to be jumping right into the next battle after this, so they wouldn't have time to like go back to base and train and things like that. So I'm saying this is just kind of them getting ready to just give it their all and use all the abilities they have for this final battle. However, I don't have a good narrative reason why they'd be selling or purchasing any equipment, so we'll skip that and we'll go to rolling a campaign event. And we get 68. And this won't really affect anything because I'm not planning to travel here for my final turn coming up. But there was some damage to my ship apparently when we landed here. And I'm going to suffer 1d6 points of hull damage to test. And I do have some repair parts that I found on turn 10, which will also fix 1d6 credits worth of damage. So my ship was damaged for 2 points of hull damage. And then the repair parts that I have will fix up to 6 credits. So my repair parts have been used up to fix that problem. And next we'll roll up our character event. So in order we'll have Danik, Dr. O, Baffy, Rhett, Beldara, and then Ugrok. That goes to the Kieran Warrior and his event, 75. Okay, someone has sent you a gift. Roll once on the loot table. Category 78, subcategory 67, and item 33. Alright, well a 78 is a roll on the odds and ends table. 67 is an implant, and then a 33 is a boosted leg. So a boosted leg implant increases both the move and dash speed by +1 each. And although Ugrok was the one that was gifted this, I guess, narratively, I'm going to say that Dr. O is going to get this. A couple battles ago, he was shot badly in the leg. And so I'm saying he's just now realized that the repairs have actually boosted his strength and maneuverability, and he's going to be faster in the final battle. There's only one battle left for my 5 Parsecs campaign. If you've been enjoying this story, leave me a like and let your friends know about the channel. I'm Alan with Bricks and Blocks Gaming. Thank you for watching and play well.